you are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two Flavor Flays.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa.
We're live.
We're back, everybody. So, welcome in. Zach's flexing because he knows I like to call him the powerful one. Mr. Zachary Sampson in the Happy Hoodlums podcast. Kemper Woodruff, your host, the Happy Hoodlum himself. You know what I'm saying? We in this bitch. But no, we're back for another episode. And really random topic that we're going to go into this episode with, because I went and visited my grandparents and something dawned on me while I was just kind of observing them in their day-to-day living situation and routine. And I noticed that my grandpa only watches YouTube.
Really?
And yeah, he only watches YouTube. And YouTube is how he consumes all of his media.
Okay.
And so it was interesting watching, new short form content affect older people that weren't exposed to that initially,
Mm-hmm.
and how highly addictive it is, And so I'm down in Bend visiting my grandparents. My grandma basically has dementia, although she won't admit it. She's got dementia. And it's gotten like way worse. But long story short, I think this short form content that they're watching is like worsening her attention span exponentially, right?
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was kind of thinking about it, and not only did she have a mental breakdown just from all the stress and nonsense of my dad dying really tragically, but also all the shit that's happened in my family behind that one incident, and as other people that are the elders of our family are dying and stuff, and that she's going through all this hardship, her and my grandfather, um seeing them escape reality in some ways through it, or a lot of ways, is really trippy. But the first thing I kind of want to touch on is that elderly people can't tell the difference between AI voices and real voices. And I don't think a lot of little kids can either.
No. It's hard. Like, it's hard to tell. Like, dude, it's funny because I was just listening to the most recent Protect Our Parks of from Joe Rogan. And they were playing I Don't Want a Lot for Christmas. But they were listening to an AI Freddie Mercury version. And it sounded really close to what Freddie Mercury would sound like, with like obvious minor like things. But it sounded really fucking close. And it's like, that blew my fucking mind. I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be that good. But on top of that, there has been like not an uptick, but I heard about it earlier this year of scammers using AI to pose as people's children and scam people out of money from like an emergency situation. Like, they call their mom, I need money real bad or whatever. I need $500 because this happened or whatever. Can you send it to this? and they'll send it. And so what I tell my parents from now on is like, if you get a call from me or even a text, call me directly. Hang up and call my cell phone directly so that you know that it's me that you're talking to. And if I have to, we'll come up with some type of code phrase that nobody knows. And when you say that or ask that question and I answer it in a very specific way, you'll know that it's me.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the types of things that I've heard on top of like that I do to make sure that people know, hey, this shit can happen. So fucking be prepared, be careful, and understand like don't send money to random people. Get like if you have your kid, send them like get Zelle, fucking Venmo. If you have to send money to people, know how to send money to people. Don't get fucking
Mm-hmm.
scammed. But there's like
Yeah.
it's scary how bad and how good AI. Dude, I actually seen another picture. Seen another AI thing today. It was just a picture of this chick in her car, and she said just got pulled over or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the next slide over was this is what you would look like if you were black or Asian, and it replaced her face completely, and it looked perfect in terms of like how it fit into that environment and how it fit on her face and everything like that. It was insane. It was nuts. And so AI is getting to this point where it's like you can create anything out of it. Anything.
Yeah.
And it's
Talk,
terrifying.
talking about strange noises, I looked over here because I just hear this, and I'm like, "What in the heck is that?" And it's my brother's cat licking his toes.
Oh
I'm like,
shit.
"What
You're like,
is this
huh?
weird noise?" But so excuse me being absolutely distracted for a moment trying to figure this out. Um, but yeah, it's definitely good to have contingencies like that. Is what I'm coming to understand in terms of like just family planning.
Yeah.
Um, it's great to have that. Also, it's probably something that's surprisingly ancient. You know, if you think back to how shit was handled during like the Crusades and stuff, I can't imagine that Assassin's Creed is just like a video game, bro. Like people, this is nothing new in a sense. It's just that the way that AI could be used, um, and may potentially suppress people in the future, and actually currently is in
Yeah.
a way that doesn't seem malicious. I guess that's probably the most interesting thing. Is like I was sitting down there very refreshed to be on vacation and be with my cousin and my grandparents and be, totally out of my day to day, especially because, dude, I'd been working 6, sometimes 7 days a week,
Yeah.
towards getting my real estate license and actually physically working, like part time at the gun store, but working out, making sure that I'm trying to rehab my body and do everything that's necessary, from the car accident and preparing for my daughter, like all of that at once, for a long time, since March, April, that time. So this was the first like reprieve that I kind of had from that. And
Hmm.
I was chilling, and to me, I'm just like sitting there unplugged, right? Or trying to be. And I'm watching my grandparents, like beyond little kids, entertained by this TV all day, you know? And of course, my grandma doesn't want to watch what my grandpa watches because he's watching a lot of political stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but it's almost like stuff that's on a loop. And you can tell that it's like computer generated by not only the voice but the cadence of the voice,
Hmm.
and it's showing like coverage while telling this story, and you can tell the two aren't like congruent, you know but that's what he's doing. And then like my grandma can only watch so much of it before she's like, cut this shit off, let's look at something else. And
Yeah.
what she wants to look at, either my grandpa will put on like clips from talent shows like America's Got Talent, which is just a ton of random ass shit, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
together. And like seeing my grandma's brain processing this stuff or attempting to, it seems like on the one hand kind of magical, and it's very captivating because she's constantly trying to figure out what's going to happen. On the other hand, it's like kind of maddening because it's so random, and like um it's either that or she did wanted to watch virtual tours of different places. And I
Okay.
was like, that's kind of really dope. And although I
Yeah.
learned a ton of places that I wanted to visit, I can't remember like five of them, bro.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was like two 2 minutes about this awesome place, then another awesome place, then another place. We watched 50 places in the course of an hour. I don't remember none of them, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I'm going crazy over here with this shit. But I just think it's the style of content. It's just overloading your brain.
Yeah, dude. I stopped like I get I can only spend like 5 or 10 minutes on like Instagram now, look like watching reels. Like not even that
Mhm.
much time. When
Mhm.
like reels can be up to like 5 minutes or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And so like I don't even get on TikTok anymore. The only time I ever get on TikTok is when someone tags me in something or shares something with me. I don't watch YouTube shorts because those are just like TikTok pretty much. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's like I got to a point where I'm so burnt out on quick form content, not
Mhm.
only because usually I find that the algorithms just show me shit that pisses me off. Um, and so I don't like when I start seeing shit I don't like, I just stop watching like altogether. I don't keep watching. Um,
Hold on. What are some of those things?
well,
Just before.
like obnoxious political views, obnoxious world views, sad things. Um,
Okay.
so like I don't want things that are gonna negatively affect my mental position. Now I will watch political news based things as long as it's not somebody yelling at the fucking camera and being absolutely belligerent. I don't care who it is or what position they're taking. If they're
Mhm.
yelling at me, I'm not watching it.
Okay. I have something interesting to add to this, but you
Okay.
can finish the thought.
Nah, that was
Like,
it. Go ahead.
okay, bro. So I deleted my old Instagram, like I said last time we were on the podcast, and made
Yeah.
a new one. My old Instagram, full of models. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just the most beautiful women on the planet, and you know, watches and mansions and all kinds of stuff, right? And exercise, um, things of that nature. Uh, I start a new account, and it's weird the things that it's trying to promote. And some of like when I go to just the search little icon and what's on that feed,
Yeah.
90% of it, no, I'd say 70%. There is a good amount of like workout stuff kind of sprinkled in there, but most of it is like Taylor Swift, um that chick from what's it called? Stranger Things. Which I
Okay.
didn't even know she was a model, right?
I
Um
think she just started doing that
yeah, she's
after
like
like she became
fucking
18 or some shit.
17 or some kind of crazy shit, right?
She's
Uh,
fresh. I think she's freshly 18 or something. I have no
some
idea.
short little blonde girl that I've never heard. She's like a country music person, I think. I don't know. She might be
Okay.
a pop star. Um, some girl from the Barbie movie, and like maybe like three or four actresses that are like all the same. And a those are not the girls that I was, following. I was following like actual models and shit that are like swimsuit models and
Mhm.
like, because I think just, bro, women are so beautiful. I've always wanted to be like a Sports
You wanted
Illustrated
to be a
photographer.
woman? No.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. No, like for real, the
You
female
can't.
form is so beautiful, and I've
Yeah.
always wanted to like when I was younger. This was one of my dreams. It's like I want to travel the world, meet tons of hot chicks, and basically take as many like pictures and photo shoots with just beautiful women from all over the world because I think they're all gorgeous,
Mhm.
in different ways, and just make art, and so it was just weird to me that it was like it clearly had the same phone number attached to the account, right? So maybe that's the commonality. Um, but just that it almost had like a very strict agenda, It
Well,
wasn't near as randomized. It was very focused in a strange way.
what they do, what I assume it is not
Yeah,
so much them like the algorithm tailoring it to you. It's not
yeah,
only what's hot. I think what it's doing is because it's a new account, it doesn't have history to base what it wants to show you.
yeah.
So like it doesn't have okay, this account watched 50 minutes of exercise reels, right? And
Hmm.
then liked 10 model photos or something, right? Doesn't have that information. So what it's trying to give you is things that are popular either among new accounts or just in general of like, oh, this is what's being looked at right now. Um it's the and the way that I've manipulated the algorithm over time because I've done the thing where I've got only models on my explore page and shit.
Yeah.
But like you can fix that. It's
Bro,
not super quick, but you can fix that.
there's no
Um,
fixing me, bro. I was broken by the algorithm. I
well,
couldn't stop looking at
number
the fucking
one,
tape.
what you have to do is you have to unfollow things that you don't want to see, right? So you got to be so like if you're tired of seeing models on your explore page, gotta chop them down a little bit.
I
Then
wasn't.
I know, but this
But
is what
yeah.
I'm telling you what to do.
Yeah, yeah, I'm following. I'm just saying I just wasn't. It was
You
like
got to chop those down a little bit, and then you got to start searching different things. So like fitness things, you search those, and you start liking those pictures, and you start liking those videos, and you start watching them. Same with like if you wanted UFC to show up in your Explore, start watching UFC. If you wanted like some random ass one-off podcast, or maybe you wanted like more military based stuff, you go fucking look up military based stuff like that. It's the things that you look at the most that they show you. If
no.
if you stop looking when they show you something and you stop and you get off the app, they don't show you that anymore. Like if I'm scrolling and then they pop up like a political video or something with certain keywords or whatever, and then I turn off the app, they're like, oh wait, maybe there's a pattern. They look at the pattern. Holy shit! Every time something pops up that says fucking whatever, right? Some political thing, he turns off the app. Okay, we don't show him that anymore. This is how
Well,
you
I'm not
tailor
shy
it.
about saying that, dude. There was like no going back for me other than to just like I gotta just stop the whole shit right in its tracks,
Well, I
And
get
now,
that, but I'm saying that for other people. Like you can
yeah, yeah,
change your algorithm. You're just
you,
someone who just has a hard time. Like you're an extremist in what
yeah,
you do.
100%. But I'm just saying, like, it's also like human when you have this thing that's like overwhelmingly presenting you stuff that might not be super beneficial to your psyche, but you're like addicted to, you know? And it was just so weird to me to have this like because when I had stopped the account, I would constantly like while I don't even have an Instagram, pull out my phone and look at my phone to see, uh if there's anything new. And it's like I don't even have an account anymore. So that just means I was programmed like my brain searching for dopamine,
Yeah.
you know? And this was where I found the dopamine was in my phone, right? And it still happens to me sometimes throughout the day. Like I'll be sitting there And most of the day, I'm just happy, just like helping customers and things like that. But every now and again, like I'll see my like coworkers on the phone, and I'll just wind up like checking my phone while some of them will be on like TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh. But since I did that, and now it's like I don't have all this content that's like actually tailored to me, you know? It's just this random shit that they're trying to promote. That when I look at it, I'm like, why the fuck would I get lost in this? You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
so sensitive. Then I'm just like, this is stupid. And now I can use the app without the app, using me. But
Yeah.
it's just it was interesting to observe myself and actually look at it, and then to see it in old people, with my grandparents. I'm seeing it in, people. My coworkers are older than me, but they're not old people,
Mhm.
but watching how it's like affecting them, and then seeing it with kids, and it just blows my mind because when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, I hear the same, like beats or whatever, like when they're on TikTok, the same kind of like joking things, because a lot of them use the same songs and shit like that in the background, just a different video. Um, and I'm like, it's just strange to me now. Like it seems like such I can see it as senseless behavior, where before it was like I was in this trance from it, you know?
Mm. I started using like Instagram. Instagram is really the only social media I use anymore. Like if I get on Facebook, it's on my computer. Like I'm not getting on there for just a fucking bullshit reason. Um,
Yeah,
and so Instagram is really the only one that I use. And I started just using it as a tool. Like,
yeah.
uh, I only watch. Well, I watch like YouTube or not YouTube, but like UFC and other like things that are funny, comedians and shit. But
Hmm.
the majority of what I have on there now is like fitness people, nutrition, um, military people, podcast things, and just over and like some like therapists and shit like that I follow who throw out
Hmm.
tips and stuff and philosophy and everything like that. And so it's like if you can find a way to structure your social media use so that it's not just dopamine hit after dopamine hit, but rather something that you can genuinely consume and have something that provokes your mind and your thought. Like um the Daily Stoic uh posts daily shit about
Hmm.
stoicism and multiple times a day. And I when I watch his stuff or read it, because it's mostly text based things, um, it provokes thought and like feeling in terms of like, okay, this quote means this. All right, well, how can I apply that quote to what I'm thinking about
I
today
can do
and shit like
I can
that.
do it, but I think the way that it's like designed to work is like fucking crack, bro. And
Well, that's
most
the
people,
point. That's the point.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like most people, not only don't have the discipline to even create, an algorithmic structure like what I did there. That was pretty, that was a 50 cent phrase right there. Um,
Okay.
an algorithmic structure that you've like tailored to kind of fit you, so that way it's at least promoting content that isn't detrimental
Yeah.
to you. But I think by design, it is dopamine hit after dopamine hit,
Well,
and
that's
that
how they
is
keep you on there, and that's how they make money. If you're not on
yeah.
the app,
I get
you
it.
know.
I'm just saying it is somewhat counter to what a lot of people are trying to promote through it in a sense.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like the only way to attempt to like reach people is to like use that system in a sense and that platform. Um, but what I've noticed is a great amount of spaciousness in my life and within myself. and a more profound path of thoughts that unfolds, when you don't have any of that going on.
Mhm.
Like at this point, all that I've been using write notes and like little things, and build like a business strategy. So as I'm listening to these audiobooks about like real estate, I'm taking notes, you know, on this other thing. Um, but I've just noticed that my life with myself feels better, and I don't just want to say with myself, but like really my communion um to God through my spirit, just like it feels um more fulfilled, at all times. Like, and when I sit down, like now, rather than me pulling out my phone, I enjoy to sit down in this state of like peace, um, and just like feel my way into this energy space that's just like a blanket inside myself. Almost like if you wrapped yourself with a blanket, it feels like my body's moving and it's like this moving warm blanket inside of me, right? And I'm just chilling with this in this like spacious, relaxed state. And I'm not really thinking of anything. And then like a thought kind of just like pops into my head. And I don't naturally like grab onto that thought. It's just like little guys over here. But it just comes into my brain, and if I am like, ooh, I like that thought, then I kind of follow it and it begins to unfold. But I have so much more peace now
Yeah.
without it. Like I don't even want to go back to that. I'm doing that for other people rather than for me.
I uh I was in the I was at the barber shop today. I just sat down waiting
Hmm.
for my turn, and
Hmm.
I I had my phone in my hand. I looked at like a video on Instagram, and I put it in my
Hmm.
pocket. I just sat there, like leaned over it like this, and just kind of looking down with my eyes closed, just chilling. Like,
Hmm.
and I think that is it's a powerful thing when when you have one dude or one person standing or sitting in a group of people, not on their phone, but everyone else is, and you can genuinely spectate them, and like what you were doing, watching your grandparents. I've been doing that for like the last 2 or 3 years, watching my parents,
Hmm.
and so like we'll be out to like dinner or something,
Hmm.
and I'll just be chilling. My phone's on the table, but I'm not looking at it. And I look up, and both of them are on their phones doing
Hmm.
two different things. And oftentimes, I'm even at their house and I'm watching the TV show that they have on the screen. I'm talking about it to them, I'm laughing at it. And then I look over, and they're both also still on their phones. And so they're not even engaged in the activity that the whole room is engaged in, but they have it on in the background, and then they hop back and forth between one thing and another, and then they just get attached to that phone and they just get stuck there. They're both looking at different shit, whether it's a game or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. They get absorbed into it. And I think like it's it's really weird just to see how, cuz when you think about it too, people in their age bracket tend to, at least 5 years ago, were talking shit about kids always being on their phones.
Yeah.
And then you walk around and now you see people of all ages attached to it. And it
Yeah.
makes sense because in essence, like it becomes an extension of you because it makes it quick to do math. It makes it quick to look up information. It's a we've essentially taken a very, very close step to becoming cyborgs because your phone is an extension of your body. You know exactly where it is at all times, right? Where's your phone at?
On my bed.
Yeah. Mine's behind me on my nightstand charging. So like everyone knows where their phone is at all times, unless you're just kind of like an absent-minded person and you leave shit everywhere, which is possible. My brother leaves his phone all the time in random places, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know where it's at. So it's like we've essentially become cyborgs because this piece of technology is so attached at the hip to us. And it's super crazy how quick that it's changed, and I think that is how attached people are to it. I think is what's going to make it easy for people to like actually take on implants and shit like
To
that.
to that point, I find it interesting that a lot of people can't read between the lines of stuff, but there's a lot of subliminal programming with things that might not even be um, malicious because I don't know how a lot of the content is necessarily generated.
Mm-hmm.
But for instance, my mom will send me like probably 8 things a day, and I love that she'll send me things, but a lot of them will be um, on the surface like some kind of motivational thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what it's really saying is like people are trying to keep us down, or like that someone else can put you down, and like don't let other people put you down, big yourself up, type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like build yourself up, don't let anything else like get you down. And like when you hear that over and over and over again, it's almost like assuming that you're in this down state or you're in this like vulnerable position when I'm not, you know? And I just see that there's people who are in that state and they resonate with it so much that they don't realize they're really not encouraging themselves out of it. They're reaffirming where they are
Yeah.
in a negative place, feeling victimized. And on the surface it looks like one thing, but what it's really saying is the opposite. And it's like a trap of the mind. And I think, this is like that Bob Marley redemption song. Like, you got to free yourself from mental slavery because none but ourselves can free our own minds,
I think you got to be careful about um thinking that way. One, because you've said many times you want to become a motivational speaker, right?
Yeah.
You contradicted the entire profession of motivational speaking right there by
But
saying,
what I'm saying is it's a generated thing. It's not like a motivational speech. It's not like a long form conversation. It's not really super substantial. It's just this short little fucking tidbit, almost like you go girl, like don't let them fucking stop your shine. And it's
yeah,
like
it's a
no one's
commercial
fucking
for motivational speaking. It's a commercial.
yeah.
It's but essentially, I think it's the way that you think about it. The way that like this is a hard one.
It's the way it feels. It's not so much the way that I think about it. If I really sit and digest it though, that is the subliminal, like what's being pushed. The statement is coming from the perspective that assumes that the reader is down when they read it.
Well, isn't that like the whole idea of when you like whether you write a speech or something like that, you're speaking to someone in a specific place, right? And so yeah, this content is out there and it's so easy to get it to people that it may even be hitting people that it doesn't necessarily, it's not supposed to be targeting, and then it causes what you're saying, right? Where it's like you're a motivated person already, and so hearing that motivation or that clip of attempted motivation isn't gonna work for you. And so it's not targeted at you, it's targeted at people who don't feel motivated at all. And that's the whole idea of like writing a motivational speech too, is like you're targeting someone who doesn't feel motivated. And that's the idea. And so I think like part of the other problem on top of it is like it's what people do with the content they ingest. Many times I don't like a post because when you like something, it's going to continue to show that you more of that, right? And so and when you share it, the more things that you share, the more it's going to show you that thing. And then it infects the people that you're with. So if you're watching and sharing political shit, more political shit's going to pop up on your shit, and then the people you send it to, you share it with, are also going to get it, and then it gets infected. And so it's like people are sending you stuff that you don't need because it's not for you. And you're seeing like a message behind it. You're seeing exactly what it was made to do, which is reach the people who aren't motivated. And I think I don't know. That one's a hard one, but
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm in 100% agreement, although I understand where you're coming from and what
yeah.
you're saying, and that it might not be like malicious in its intent, you
Mhm.
know. Um, but I know for me the only way that I've been able to kind of like combat it, it just sounds like fake to me. Like a lot of that shit is just fake
Yeah, and that kind of
because there's
depends on
no
who you're listening to too. So it
there's no
just yeah.
substance to it.
Yeah.
Like I need a robustness to a message. I need a strategy. I need something that's such a differently, profound thought, not just some woke fucking statement. I need a profound thought that, breaks my understanding and grip of my perspective on my problem set,
Mhm.
and helps make, failure full of possibilities to me, so it eliminates the fear and takes it not just from hope, but to a deliberate application of your mind's ability to cultivate a feeling using words as a construct, you know
Mhm.
and I feel that that stuff, it's just not even in that fucking ballpark, bro. um for me. And um I see that a lot of people try and send it to one another, but how I almost look at it now, like when I get those messages, like I'm just happy that my mom thought of me,
Yeah.
and I don't open it. I'm just happy that she thought of me, and I know that there could be like some cool shit in there that I am missing out on from time to time, but sifting through and subjecting myself to that much screen time of stuff that annoys me is not where I'm at. And I mean, this has gone very much off the course of what probably people are dealing with in their own life. But take it with a grain of salt, because it might not be coming from your mom, it might be coming from multiple sources, but I think a lot of it has that fucking hollow, you go girl fucking feel to it, um rather than actually giving you a better route, um to think upon, you know
Yeah, I mean, like honestly at this point, the only things that I ever send you on Instagram is I think like fitness shit.
yeah.
At least the last few times it's been things like I'm gonna implement this into your program or something like that. Or like for example, I sent you always an athlete, right? I sent you his shit because I remember you saying you want to look like a fucking like an animal, but this dude looks like a fucking animal and he does awesome fun shit that you want to do. And so it's
Yeah.
like I sent you that so that you're like, okay, this is some fun shit that we could try out.
Yeah.
And so that's the type of stuff that I usually try to send people unless I see some really dumb shit, and then I send it to the people who also send me dumb shit. I'm like, here you go. But I don't even watch the shit that people send me. They send me dumb shit. I don't watch it, but I send them dumb shit and they probably don't watch it. But
That's so funny that you say that because I thought that I was definitely being a douchebag, but that's totally the way that I am too.
yeah, no, I
I
mean, I'll watch like 1 out of 10 videos that people send me.
hmm
And that's it. I'm like, and if you send me more than like 2 in a row, I don't watch any of them.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
100%, dude. I'm same protocol. I'm
Yeah.
not there
Yeah. I'm just like,
unless
dude,
it's
what?
my brother, because my brother sends me some of the funniest shit that I've ever seen in my life, and it's
Yeah.
just always super random. Like there was a dude that built some kind of suit to try and like withstand bear attacks,
Oh, it's like
and
nails and shit on it.
no, dude, we gotta
Oh
sample it.
wait,
I'm gonna see if I can find it, bro.
did he
It's
like throw
so
himself down a hill?
yeah, he throws
Yeah,
himself
yeah.
off
He's all fucked up and
the hill.
shit.
Yeah, dude, that shit made me
Got
laugh
hit by a
so
car.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
dude.
seen that shit.
I'm like, I am so appreciative that that guy spent money to make that. He's a legend for that decision. Um, but no, I think what this kind of comes down to, if we're really dumbing it down, is like healthy decisions in the modern day take um, more common sense and appreciation of simplicity.
hmm
I really think that's kind of the way to counteract being overstimulated
Yeah.
and people making, or society, I guess, making it seem like more is better. Um, because you can be in such a competitive place that you're out of sorts with yourself. And I like truly believe in my heart and soul that our walk through life in our bodies, is teaching us to kind of influence the world and not letting the world influence us so hard. Um, and like to master creativity, you have to come from like this place, not just of like peace, but just um, I feel like uh, after the world has fucked you up enough and you've got caught in this whirlwind, you want peace, and everyone's seeking to find it, and it's so much easier. And it's not necessarily about doing a ton of things or not doing something, it's how you live within yourself and this state of just comfort within yourself amidst fucking chaos sometimes. Sometimes chaos is people's happy place,
Yeah.
and truly like they thrive there. Like that's what that person was made to do for whatever reason. Like they fucking rock and roll when, in you see this in the military. Dudes where it's like for whatever reason when guns start going off, I'm composed. Like I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know? And then there's other people that are just not built that way. And that might be a very extreme example, but if you look at life with that same kind of uh, perspective, you can see that in like any group of people, whether you're in an office building or a bar or a classroom, you see it all.
Yeah.
Where life just overwhelms some people, and other people learn how to thrive by cultivating that like comfort and finding comfort within it.
Yeah. Even like the ability to just let shit go. And so like the people who can do that are just like, this is my situation. How do I handle it? Right. Um, and I catch myself getting irritated by small things that people do over and over and over that are annoying habits to me. And so what I started doing was like, I don't care about that thing anymore. Right. And so like one thing that really bugs me is like the smell of weed where I live. It bugs the fuck out of me because I don't want to walk around smelling like it. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't grow up like that. I don't smoke. I get high. I use edibles. And so it's like I don't like I like the smell of weed, but I don't like it on me or my shit. Right? And so it's annoying. But today I walked into my apartment and as my brother was leaving, freshly smoked in his room. And so I came in, I smelled it. His door was closed. He at least does that. And I walk into my room, I'm like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. Like I don't. I've thrown that away. That whole caring about it thing, I'm like, I got cologne. I wash my clothes, and no one's ever told me I smell like weed. So why the fuck am I upset about it?
Yeah.
Why? Because somebody might walk in and smell it too? I'm like, fuck you.
That's funny that you say that because I was up in Seattle with my family. Shout out to Tieran and Webb, and the Kreider family. So um, I was up there hanging out with like my second mom and my little sisters up in Seattle, and they're Jehovah's Witnesses, like straight as an arrow, right?
Okay.
And it like weed doesn't bother me at all because I've been around it for so long, and I'm like, I love the smell of weed. I just always have.
Yeah.
But I'm like, every 5 feet, it seemed like I would walk by someone that was either actively smoking a joint, just smoked a joint, or has some fucking serious ganj on them. And it was weird because we'd have like fresh air, fresh air, fresh air. Smells like a right after it had rained. You're like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then it's like, wham, hella weed. And then like we were walking in front of a hotel and there was a lady sparking a joint. And I'm sitting there thinking like, my little sisters have never smoked. So like, what is this like for them? Because for me, it's just like, oh yeah, no big deal. For them, they're probably getting hit with this scent like over and over again. Like, what the fuck is that? What's going on with that? You know?
Yeah. The funny thing is like, this is off topic. You were talking about
Mm-hmm.
fresh air. Something that I didn't realize until like
Mm-hmm.
recently, the difference between city air and like
Mountain air.
small city air. So like I went from Portland to Cascade Locks one day. It was
Mm-hmm.
like the end of summer. And I open up my parents' door, and in front of they have a door and then a glass door with a sliding window that goes up, and there's a screen and shit. And so my dad, he had the window part up, and I'm sitting there looking out the door, and I'm smelling the air, and it's so much fucking different. And I don't even know how to explain it other than it's better. And I
Yeah.
turned to my dad, I'm like, I just realized how much better the air is out here.
Mm-hmm.
It is so crazy to me that air can have such an extreme difference in profile. And like it makes sense when you start thinking about like, oh, well, you smell food and you smell shit and you smell garbage and you smell flowers. Why can't it all combine into a really shitty thing? But you don't realize when you live in a city that this air doesn't smell good because you get used to it. And then you
Mhm.
go somewhere that has good air and you're like, wow, this is rejuvenating. Nature is amazing. And then you go back to the city and you forget how shit the air is. And you're just complacent with it. And you're just like, well, and
Yeah,
it pisses me off. Honestly, I'm like, dude, I want to smell that all the fucking time.
dude, it's funny that you say that in particular because when I was driving back from Bend and when I was driving to Bend,
Mm-hmm.
as a matter of fact, as soon as I get out of the city and I get like out through Sandy and I'm starting to go over the mountain, bro, I always roll the windows down because it,
Oh,
it
yeah.
just smell
It's
just
crisp.
but it just smells different. And that's why that's one of the many reasons I love snow. Snow is my
Yeah.
favorite thing of all weathers.
I
Snow's
agree.
my favorite
Snow's my
by
favorite
far.
too.
I absolutely love the snow. And um just the crispness of the air. Like I like cold mountain air. It's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so it's just interesting that you kind of had that realization. But I think um there's also something to the phrase "it's in the air," right?
Yeah, there's
Because
something in the air.
yeah, I believe that there is truly psychic connection, and if everything is energy, then we're drawn to certain locations at certain times, and we're a part of that mind frame and like what's going on within the greater consciousness of that area. And you see this when you look at art,
Mm-hmm.
particularly like music and poetry, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Um, so like back in New York, they had like the beatniks, and then there was like a ton of trippy psychedelic stuff that was happening in like Cali back in like the 60s and 70s. Classic rock coming out of like Europe, in particular Britain, you know, and you're just like, whoa, there was something in the air in these places. If you look at like we can't go past Detroit, right? Detroit had a ton of artists that came out of there back in the day, like some of
Yeah.
the greatest. I think they said something like, now, sorry if I get this completely wrong. I think it was like Smokey Robinson went to school with um Stevie Wonder, and I think like Aretha Franklin, if I'm correct, were
Damn.
all within like a 10-mile radius of each other.
Yeah.
Like there are actually hubs where you look at it, even like fucking Seattle with like grunge music back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
or the South with hip hop. Like it's fucking crazy when you look at all this shit, the way that it just, kind of comes together and in groups. Um, in fact, crazy is not the right word. It makes perfect sense. So it's absolutely not crazy. It's actually the opposite of that. It's very logical when you look at it through a certain lens, but if you're assuming that things are coincidental, um, you kind of can't wrap your mind around it.
I like to use the word crazy in terms of something like it's awesome, but also wild at the same time.
Hmm.
And so like awesome wild people are crazy people to me because they're fucking cool and they're fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I like to have like I think describing something one way doesn't necessarily make it bad. But if you have the vocabulary to explain it in a better way, then why not?
Yeah.
So
But I don't know. That's about all I got for this episode. I don't know if you have anything else to kind of close it out with, but
nothing pressing, honestly. I like it.
yeah, I think this was an interesting travel through AI. Also,
Episode 1 of
shout
season
out to
3.
Zach for making me a Christmas Happy Hoodlums hoodie with the black on black tie dye.
Hell yeah. More coming.
Yes. Keeping it fresh, everybody. Until next time.